Education, Laurie Kilmartin.
We're live.
Hey, do I need
It's
this
happening
light?
right now. Are you?
I do need this light.
Oh, you do.
Sorry.
Making it much more romantic. Well done.
Yeah, it's Valentine's Day. No, I put the light on. I looked at my face with the shadows and was like, I don't want that out there. I want a very well lit face, all the crevices beaming light.
Yeah. Zoom in, folks. Zoom in. I had a new line today where I was talking about Andy, and essentially it is affection plagiarism is what it is. And when Andy, he does nicer things than I do. He is more thoughtful. And then later in life, I think to myself, what would Andy do? I could do that for him. He might enjoy that. And so that's what that is. That's affection plagiarism defined. So
must be nice to live with a male who gets you cards on any day you're supposed to get a card.
Right. It's always weird to get a card. Like Nancy Cation created something when I was a child that I didn't know wasn't real. Well, for maybe a minute, because I have older siblings and they're like, that isn't real. And she created something called the Valentine hippopotamus. And
she was fun, man.
She tried her goddamnedest to be fun. She was like, we are not gonna be a sad sack, though there was a great deal of yelling as well. But then because she had to get us on the straight and narrow, but it was the Valentine hippopotamus. It just meant, I remember it was Darla or Ross or somebody said, go with it. It's free candy. And there are cupcakes. Don't say nothing.
My dad used to send me a card every Valentine's Day. So I'm used to not getting those. It's been like 6 years, but
Yeah.
It still sucks.
It does suck. Did you and your mom lament about it together at least?
No, I don't think so. I'm sure we talked about it. I don't know.
Yeah, you must have had
Yes.
some sort of conversation. I think Valentine's, I bought, affection plagiarism wise, I bought a card when I was in some store that had cards. I was like, Andy would buy a card. I should probably buy a card. And so I bought a card and I gave it to him. I can't wait though. I need credit for this shit immediately. So at like midnight last night, I gave him the card. Well,
good. I forgot about it until I saw everyone's Valentine's Day tweets this morning and I was like, oh, here we go. Here we go. All I know is the pool is closed, so I'm greatly inconvenienced. And the pool time I had this morning, it turned out this podcast I was supposed to do last week, they could only do it at the exact time I was supposed to swim. So now I'm cranky because I didn't get my swim in, and I can't get it in after this because the pool closes at 2.
Oh, you know what? Your pool is long and I know that I've asked this before. You know,
okay, we'll have this conversation the 900th time.
Okay,
it's
so
cold. It's only Jackie. No,
infinity pool. That's what I was wondering. They have like an app. It's like but it's not an app because it's a real life thing that you put.
No, I looked into it. It's like a $10,000 pool.
Never mind.
And okay. You shouldn't be in a pool without a lifeguard. It's a drowning machine in the backyard. They shouldn't have pools in the backyard, right? It should be illegal because they're so dangerous. You need lifeguards. You need a staff of people watching you swim. And that's what I get at a public pool.
Oh, you're right. The buddy system. All right. This is true. That's how I was raised in Lake Michigan. They're like, never swim alone. Never swim alone in Lake Michigan. And then I didn't have any friends, so I swam alone. But I didn't swim that much because talk about cold. Lake Michigan doesn't really ever get not cold. So it really has to be hot.
My grandfather was a lifeguard at Lake Michigan.
Oh, was he?
Mm-hmm. The one that ended up playing football for the Gunners, which was a pre-NFL pro team somewhere in Chicago.
One of my first jobs, Darla got me the job. It was a door-to-door canvassing thing for Wisconsin's Environmental Decade. It's where I learned that those door-to-door canvassers make 45% of what you donate to them goes to them. And it's not that I don't want to donate to the environment or support somebody in their work. I just wish I didn't have to just Like, I wish it wasn't the illusion that I was doing one or the other.
Right.
But anyway, one of the guys who was a canvasser was he was on the Green Bay Packers walk-on.
Oh, wow.
He tried out for the Green Bay Packers and he made it. I mean, he only lasted a season, like one season.
And then
they were like, no.
Have some kind of head injury? Because why was he doing door-to-door?
Oh, no. Well, he was only on the Packers, I think, for less than a season. The door-to-door canvassing thing is just a job.
Okay.
But he was a giant man. He was like a 6'6" black man who probably weighed over 300 pounds. But he was,
well, good for him. To me, that's a success story. Any sort of professional sports career, whether it's AAA or walk-on, you did it. To me, you're a comic who worked for 5 years and featured at the Funny Bones and then transitioned out. Good for you.
Oh yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that definition of. I think if you worked it, I don't have a horse in that race. If you want to call yourself a comic and you're a right-wing pundit, I'm not happy, but I'm also, I know terrible comics who I'm not happy that they're doing stand-up. So I mean, in both cases, it's really none of my business.
I don't know. Are you talking about that article now?
A little bit. Did you know that Kyle is frozen?
Hey, am I?
Or he's super still.
He's so bored that he can't even move his body to respond to our conversation.
One of those two things was.
I had gone into a fugue state of.
There was that weird article, but I wasn't going to bring it up because I skimmed it.
Yeah, it was hard to read all of it. There was a lot there.
Yeah, it was
including my name, by the way.
Oh my God, the fact that you were name checked. It's like it has nothing to do with you. What are you doing?
Well, it's weird. Like it was about like alt-right comedy, which I don't know. I don't know what comics are doing. Right? Everyone's going insane and everyone's going, they're podcasting their brains out. And so who knows what they're doing. And they only have to appeal to their hardcore audience. And if that's where you're getting your Patreon money, who the fuck knows what you're going to say? People are in different levels of desperation right now. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't track everybody, I don't even listen to this podcast, so I'm not going to be following other shit,
Who listens to their own podcast?
Oh my God.
I'm trying to listen to it for clips.
Yeah.
But best of luck on that.
Yes. But, I don't know. It's like there was Chris Italia, who's the owner of The Stand, one of the owners, was spoken about. I have to just say, like he and Dave Kimowitz, who was stabbed to death about a year and a half ago, produced my special. They were in my house. I love them. I feel like they are the godfathers of my child. When I have this footage of my mom that I was looking at, like all the footage, because they interviewed my mom and my sister and me together. It's Chris who's, keeps prodding her, trying to get a reaction out of her. I'm like, yeah, welcome to my life, pal. Get a single emotion out of her. What I read about him did not ring true for any way that I know him. And so that was, I don't know. I was just like, I just don't see it,
Well, and the thing is especially, and I'm just going to say it, is that a lot of male comics and male club owners act differently around women, and especially established women comics and women comics who don't want to play. Like who aren't like, because I spent the first 5 or 6 years of my life.
I'm very playful. I like to play. What are you saying?
I'm saying is that I spent the first 4 or 5 years trying to be a good guy, right? I spent the first time trying to be a man, trying to be a guy, one of the guys. Mm-hmm. And at a certain point, I was just like, well, this is exhausting. I can't sustain, because it was always in a situation where there was a terrible conversation. that was
Right.
happening.
Right.
And then I would laugh it off because I was one of the guys.
Right,
I
right,
do
right,
want
right,
to
yeah.
be one of the guys when you're talking about who books that weird one-nighter in rural Wisconsin.
That's why, yeah, that's kind of why you fake it the other times. You're trying to participate. Yes.
Right. It took, right, because you're trying to participate. Yeah.
Here's the thing, like it's so comedy is I don't know if there's another profession like it, right? There's like 7,000 of us. We're all independent contractors. So you will spend a week with somebody, maybe, or Friday, Saturday, or whatever, with someone who is certifiably insane or a complete, political lunatic as far as you're concerned. And you figure out how to get along with them because that's who you're working with that week, or you sit at a table. I've sat at many tables on both coasts where we're all doing spots at the club that night. So we're all hanging out that night. And I know this person doesn't vote remotely the way I do, or think I should have the right to have an abortion, or, you know what I mean? Like, okay, we'll find some common ground. And the other thing is sometimes depends on the person, but like, I think some of the stuff about cringe humor, it came up during the Tough Crowd era. And Tough Crowd was all about comics shitting on each other lovingly at the Comedy Cellar. And it was brought to TV, right? And Colin was sort of the puppet master, basically. But you'd have Nick DiPaolo and Greg Giraldo, who are ideologically very, very different, on the same show. And everyone would pile on each other, but then it would sort of be a joke. And that was like kind of it was a rough way to be, but that was kind of what everyone was doing,
Right.
and that was the aspiration.
Right. And that is something that literally professionals, these are guys that had known each other for 15, 20 years, and they knew how to do it.
Yeah.
Right. It was the people that were copycatting that cringe
True.
It's sort of like ironic.
Well, they were like fans. Like cringe was made up of fans of that
that's
comedy.
what it is.
And then, they owned a comedy
then they wanted to be comics, and they were like, this is the kind of comedy I want to do. Wherein not seeing someone who came up, sort of like how Picasso, yes, just like Pliny the Younger. But
oh man, here we go.
Like Picasso painted a bunch of squares and everybody's nose was off, or this art is my life. Anyway, but what I'm saying is that
Pollock went to art school and then he ended up just throwing paint over shit. Okay.
Yes. So it's very different. So, but what I want to say is that it's the same with ironic racism. People heard Sarah Silverman and Zach Galifianakis doing jokes as ironic racists back in the late 90s. And they were like, that's funny. You're like, no, they're funny. And they're making that.
Right.
And sometimes.
And it might not hold up.
And
it's
it
probably
doesn't
not going to
hold up.
work in 20 years.
And it wasn't always funny when they did it.
Yeah.
Right. It was still hit and miss.
Right, right.
But they had been doing stand-up long enough that they were coming from a place, and they were performing to a people. There were a lot of things going on, and cringe humor came from fandom of mean ball busting. It's sort of like
ball busting, exactly.
Just the creation of the roast thing too.
Right. But the other, like another thing that's weird, or where comedy doesn't fit in these boxes, where like if you looked at all the white male comics in that piece, 90% of them, their favorite comic, Patrice O'Neill. Okay. Patrice is black, he's dead. And they would kill their white baby to bring Patrice back for another special, So I don't think it fits in all these boxes that people are saying. Comedy has always been incredibly sexist, stand-up comedy, right? Nightclub comedy has been, so, whether there's pockets of it in different places, it feels familiar, sadly.
Well, at this late, almost everything is familiar to us. Quite honestly, all kinds of comedy is whatever you're doing, I've seen a version of it.
Yes.
And I either like your version of it or I don't like your version of it. But that doesn't mean you don't get to do it.
Yeah. Well, people do whatever their audience lets them, And if you're going to be a dumb troll, you can, I guess that's totally legal. You can be a stupid troll. I listened to this This American Life that Dante Nero did a couple years ago. Do you know Dante?
I don't.
Okay.
Not offhand. I mean, I probably do.
Like,
It's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I love him. And we were in a writing group. There used to be this little writing group. We met casually, joke machine in Jackie Cation lingo. We'd meet at Starbucks. It was like Dante, Ross Bennett, me, Corey Kahaney, sometimes Jessica Delfino. And we would just throw ideas around and stuff. And so I've known Dante a long time. And Dante has, very regressive ideas on female and male roles.
Oh, really?
But you can tell him to his face, you're a dumb shit, and he'll laugh, and then you could have like an hour-long discussion, whatever, right?
Right, and he might write you a good punchline.
Yes, I mean, I don't know, it's just, it's like, oh, all right. Those are conversations that you learn to have as a comic because you're working with somebody that week. And sometimes people have like these batshit ideas, but they're also cool people. They just, when they go on stage, you're like, what the fuck? Your id is making you do that. Okay, so I'm not necessarily talking about Dante, but so he's also like listed as like a co-founder of Proud Boys, the Proud Boys, right?
Oh, is he?
Well, here's the thing. Back in the day, Gavin McInnes, who's the Proud, whatever, like he's done like
He's the founder, right?
Yeah,
He's the Proud Boy guy,
he
right?
should be deported to Canada. He's Canadian. Don't let these fucking Canadians get off like they're so nice all the time, okay? They're growing terrorists and send them to down here. So,
why would they keep them?
I guess according to This American Life, I was listening to it, right? Dante and Gavin McInnes were friends, right? And they're, common a bond that I would think it seems like is the Proud Boys ethics. It's incel-y, and women are XXXYZ, whatever, all that kind of shit that drives you insane, what people say about women. And so he and Dante sort of bonded on that level, I guess. And then Gavin McInnes took it in a different direction, and Dante was horrified and he disassociated himself with it.
Oh, did he?
But it's a really good This American Life, and it's a good interview with Dante. But
Okay.
But if you don't know Dante and you just see that name and Proud Boys, and if you read his Twitter feed, you're like, what? I don't know. It's
Is he a New York comic, Dante?
yeah. I mean,
And is he white? Is he
he's
Italian?
black. Oh, he's black. He's like
Oh.
6'3". He used to be a stripper. He also worked for Verizon. And he's just a character, right?
Yeah, he's just a guy.
Character.
Yeah. All right.
And he even within his kooky worldview of women, he wrote jokes that made me laugh, even though I'd be like, no, just like Nick DiPaolo, would write jokes I would laugh at and then just go, but that setup isn't true because I know the fucking story you're referencing, all right? You cherry picked, whatever. But whatever, people can still write jokes within whatever their wheelhouse is, even if I think their wheelhouse is insane. So I don't know. And then I know a lot of the other guys in that were in that article, and yeah, maybe some of them are. I don't know if they're. I don't know. I actually don't want to know. Like, I just want to go in, do my set, have a nice conversation. If all we have in common is we have kids and we're comics, that gives me 15 minutes to talk to you. I do my set and I get the fuck out. Like, I'm good. We don't need to agree on everything. We can find our common ground, and that's enough,
They're called work friends. Yeah. I get it.
Yes. But in stand-up comedy, a lot of our work friends are, if you
They're in the public
if you
eye.
looked at their Google history, you'd be like, oh.
Yeah, you know what? That's the worst life choice you've ever made, is to look at comics.
Yeah, don't.
History.
You want to know as little as possible about the comedians you're working with every week. Trust me.
Right. You have to go very slowly into what you want to, how well you want to know another comic.
Yes, I mean, how many times, especially when you're coming up as a MC or feature, you're in the green room. It's a Friday, Saturday. 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday. You're stuck with this headliner, and they own the green room technically, right? So they're spouting off, and you're just hearing these insane theories or thoughts, and it's like, wow, that's crazy. What's your intro?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Hey, I'm gonna go to the bar. Did you guys want anything? And then you do a lap, and you're a servant. The green room.
But I feel like here's, if there's a comic that's doing sexist material, lazy sexist material, and they're doing transphobic, they're doing homophobic stuff, right? Stuff that you can go, oh,
I know
not
what you
great.
mean.
Okay. I want to follow that comic because I'm going to undo what they just did. To me, they're braiding something and I'm going to go up there and unbraid it and then I'm going to rebraid it. Okay. And maybe that's what every comic does. And maybe the comic who does sexist stuff's like, oh, I got to go up after that bitch. She's giving these women too much self-esteem. I'm going to take, but that's what a show is, right? So I don't know. I mean, I think I always just, my solution to every problem in comedy is book more women.
Yeah. It's not a bad. I mean, okay. So I talked to a Vulture guy this week. Vulture article guy.
Yeah.
Asked me about. He wanted to do an article about closing, about things, about endings.
Yeah.
And so he wanted to talk to a bunch of comics about
their closing bits.
Yeah, not my closing bit, but who's my some other comics closing bit. At which point I wanted to go. Have you seen mine? Have you seen my closing bit? Anyway, but
if no one mentioned me, I don't want to talk to you.
I picked Stuart Lee in his if you wish for a milder comic, please ask for it or whatever, because it's a 20-minute bit about a saying about, is it pickles? No, it's a cider. It's a pear cider.
Pear cider.
Oh Christ!
Straight up.
Oh, I got to see it. I haven't seen it.
Jesus H. It's 20 minutes. Anyway,
genius.
So we're talking and but I was telling him about that closer, and then I was also telling him about this guy that I featured for in the 90s. I've mentioned him to you before. I couldn't remember. And at the end of the story, the Vulture guy was like, off the record, what's this guy's name? And I was like, on the record, I don't know. And if I did know, I would tell you, because he was a nightmare. He was 1,400 miles I spent with this guy, from Minneapolis to Minot to Grand Rapids.
Sure.
And he wore, remember that pirate puffy shirt?
Yes. I had one. I had some. Yes.
That's what he wore on stage with a vest. And he used to do a joke about how he was dressed like a blackjack dealer. And he was from Atlanta, but he lived in Los Angeles. And his closer was as well 15 minutes. And it was he did 45 minutes of what he called male bashing. And then he did 15 minutes, and it was all like guys like to drink beer and steal the remote. It was all that kind of bullshit, and it wasn't that good, right?
Yeah.
It was pretty mediocre, and it was fine, and he was doing his job in the audience. And then the last 15 minutes, he would, you go to these one-nighters, these little towns, and every town has the same 3 characters, right? And there's the hot girl who's super popular but gets too drunk and ends up whatever, right? There's the kind of the belligerent dude who you gotta avoid. And there's a couple of tropes, right? And they're in every town. So what this guy would do, what puffy shirt, whatever fucking dude, he would find that woman, the sort of the best looking woman who was hammered, and he would start in on her against bitches. It was just all bitches and money and it was sexism and feminism is this, and it was terrible. Whatever. But what he would do, he would light him up. He would light her up so that she would start yelling shit. And then at the end of it, and so I'm like we're 4 cities in. We're 4 towns into this run. And 3. And because we closed the weekend in Grand Rapids. Or Grand Forks. But so by the 3rd one, I was trying to cock block him because they would come up to him afterwards and then he would end up sleeping with them.
Oh, God.
It was like
no wonder these guys are sexist. They had everything they ever wanted.
No, hang on a second. It was like a merch closer. It was like where he was selling merch, but he was trying to get someone to. It was like that, using the negativity thing.
Yes.
And then he would end up. So when we got to Minot, he did it to this woman, and I literally just stood in front of him and I said, he's trying to light you up. It's not going to get any better, and he wants to sleep with you. Please don't sleep with him. He's good. And I just spent 700 miles with the guy. I don't want to, and he was so mad at me. You got to get in a car with him after that? Oh, he refused. We drove through blizzards and he was like, I've never driven in snow. I'm from Atlanta. You have to drive the whole way. And so we're driving through a blizzard from Grand Forks back to Mankato.
It's so exhausting to drive through a blizzard.
Yeah,
Like
and I
every
said-
muscle is hyper aware. Oh my God.
Yeah. And so I said to him, your job in this car then is to keep me awake. So tell me a story. And I am not kidding you. The story he told me was the history of World War II from the perspective of the Germans.
My God.
It was the worst. Hey, let's take a break for Max Fun.
All right.
I don't know what time we're at.
Or as he called it, the perspective of the good guys.
Right. It was literally, that was
Oh my
it.
God. Yeah. And then Ted Alexandro, who I love, the great Ted.
Let's do comic of the week.
Wait, okay.
You want to? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, let me. We usually do them back to back, the Max Fun and this, but this is nice. We'll just talk.
Yeah, man. There's no rules, Jackie. Okay.
We're in a pandemic. We don't need structure. Get out.
Oh my God. Ted, did you see
The thing about SNL?
Yes.
He had a Zillow joke or something that they used on SNL?
He had a looking at Zillow, likening it to watching porn, right? Is that me or you? Did you hear that? Okay. No, my Siri just went off. Sorry. Go away, Siri. Go away, lady. So he had a bit. He'd been doing it a while, doing it at the Cellar, doing it in New York.
Yep.
When you're doing
know
it
where
in
they
New York, yeah.
That's where they shoot the television program
Yes.
SNL.
So they it was very, very similar. Their actual commercial and his stand-up
Actual
set.
bit.
You can't.
Which is from his special. He had recorded.
Yeah, it's like time stamped. And by the way, when someone records it on a special, that means they've been doing it for a couple years ahead of that. No one's recording a chunk brand new.
Mm-hmm.
So he got pissed, which I understand. But you know what sucks is like he can never do that bit. To me, like that, it's a funny bit. It's one of those bits where if the crowd is stupid, you bring out your porn Zillow bit and you got them back, right? It's one of those, everyone can get this one. And so it's a good one to have in your back pocket, and now when comedy comes back, he can never do it because SNL took it over. And because the whole time he'll be thinking, do they think I took this?
Yeah.
So he jokingly demanded $1 million. And then after that didn't happen, he said he was forced to up it to $2 million. And then and he's got to change that org petition. It's very funny. He's playing it for all he can, as he should, as a father of two who's living off his Patreon money. Good for him.
And I think TMZ picked it up, you said, didn't you?
TMZ and Vice, yeah. I mean, it can also be parallel thought. Everyone is looking at Zillow.
It's a porn joke about Zillow. Anyway, that doesn't mean that it wasn't stolen. It just means it might have been parallel thought.
Yeah, there were a couple beats that were like
that felt
right on the money. Yeah. Okay, but go ahead. Sorry.
So I joined TikTok 7 days ago, and I've just been posting 1-minute videos. I got clips of 35 years of stand-up, so I'm just doing. And so I posted the Spooky Reading Girl bit, which, by the way, there's still enamel pins. Fucking buy them. But I did Spooky Reading Girl bit from my NPR Live from Here set. 800,000 views.
Fuck.
Yeah, and 700 comments where I'm just trying to like. But many of the comics, I guess that there's some anime that also has a Spooky Reading Girl in it from 2003 maybe. And I was like, guess who wasn't watching any anime? I mean, I was just like, the story.
Oh, did they accuse you of stealing? Oh my God.
They were like, this is in this anime. And I think the anime has like, not my last name, but it's spelled Cash Kiki or something, or.
Oh my God.
And it's so weird. And I'm like, well, don't worry about it. I'm not even verified on TikTok. But it was so many, that it's so crazy that people are like, I now have Like oh, shut up. Shut up. Yeah, I'm trying to find like how many people are following me, and it's because it went to something crazy, and I don't know where
Did you see any increase in sales of any merch? Like, were people going to your website because of that or anything like that?
No, which is the weird thing, because I was like, I would like, I would sort of like that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that would be an ideal. And what I'm not getting for some reason is it was doing it before, but now it's not doing it. Anyway, so I don't know. But I couldn't believe, like, I woke up and all of a sudden there were, now there's 913,000 people have watched.
Wow.
Yeah, Spooky Reading Girl, and almost 100,000 have watched because I've essentially cut that bit is so freaking long. It's a 3-minute bit or 4-minute bit. And
Did you caption it and stuff?
it's one of the captioned ones.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
but I did do a couple of ones that weren't captioned. And then I did one of the ones that weren't captioned. I pulled out that sort of Iraq, Afghanistan chunk out of my Horcrux DVD special. And one of the lines is about how Iraq is like Kinko's. And you might have saw my tweet about it, because
I did.
saying, what is Kinko's?
Oh my God.
So I don't know. I did my Sunday show this afternoon, and I didn't do it last week, and I just forget how much I like those people. And a noon show,
Yeah.
and a noon show was so fun, because there was a guy from Denmark and someone from Switzerland, and one of the comics was from Germany, and Tiff Stevenson from London did a set.
Oh, cool.
And I picked a couple of comics I didn't know very well, the one from Germany and the one from Philadelphia. And they were both fine. They were both great. And it was lovely. It was nice and Carmen Morales did a set, and Judah Friedlander popped in for a sec.
He was like, go wrong, man. You can't go wrong with Judah popping in.
Yeah, I said, you have 10 minutes. And he said, yeah, when I get to 10 minutes, actually say something to me. I was like, I'm going to wave at 8. And he was like, yeah, that's not going to cut it. You should say, hey, that was it. So,
that's cool.
oh, and Jeff Tice, who did our new logo.
I love our new logo.
Yeah, he did a really nice job. And he's actually going to do the art for my new album, which I will one day record.
Album. I got to listen to stuff. I did let's see, the last set I did, I have 2 tonight at Flappers.
Oh, do you?
And yeah.
Are they doing like drive-ins again, or no?
No. These are just Zoomers.
Zoomers? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, one of them is interrupting my yoga workout. Jackie, I can't get a fucking workout in today.
I took the dog for 3 walks yesterday.
Talk about your dog. I'll talk about my show later. Go talk about your dog.
Well, let's do the comic of the week real quick, because I think now we're at 30, aren't we?
We are 33.
Okay.
Katrina Davis. I worked with her on Zoom. She's an LA comic. She's very funny.
Yes.
Katrina Davis, KatrinDavis. But that's not her Twitter feed. What is it?
It's Katrina Sivad. So Sivad is Davis spelled backwards, which I, with my brilliant mind, picked up immediately. Why Jackie was like,
getting it immediately.
Katrina S. Ivad? No, Jackie, it's Davis spelled backwards.
She was a little too smart for my Zoom.
Yeah.
Well done, Katrina Davis. And I have to say, it was. I'm not good at those personalized license plate either. I'm not good at those. But it was, yeah, she was really funny. She's really smart. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Find her, follow her.
It's very funny.
So yeah, we got a dog. We went to the pound.
Right.
We think that this dog is from this neighborhood because the Van Nuys Pound is literally a half a mile from our house. Mm-hmm. And the dog, Gordy, is like a Chihuahua mix.
Is he Canadian?
Gordy?
Yeah.
He is not.
Okay.
A Chihuahua mix, so he's, I believe, Mexican ancestry. He speaks.
Gordy's a very Canadian name.
Oh, is it? It's
yes.
He speaks, it was funny because my mother-in-law was like, does he speak English or Spanish? And Andy wrote back and said, he seems to speak in belly rubs and hot dogs. So,
That's French.
very, c'est vrai. And but he is, we've lucked out with this dog. This is the most, I mean, this dog is, he's 8. He's 8 years old, and he only had one family. He had one family.
Oh, poor guy.
So
what happened? You don't.
They had
Do
to
you know?
move, I guess. They said they had to move and they couldn't take the dog with them. So
Sucks.
he's only day 2 and he's pretty much settled in. You know, he said 2 nights and we just put him in the crate when we go to bed, just sort of so he doesn't. So it's a place for him to be in his own space and stuff. And but he's super polite. And I'm sure he'll act up at some point to test us, for that is how dogs do. I took him for 3 walks yesterday. It turns out all I've ever wanted is a dog to walk. I've been so anxious. I wish that I could have a crate. A crate for the people adopting.
Sure. Well, that's great. I'm excited. Charmy is killing me. She's just very high energy.
She is a puppy, and she is a very strong puppy. When
She
I came
is.
over to the house the other day to drop
Yes.
off the latest, when you put her on the leash and she just started pulling at the porch, and I was like, that dog's gonna pull down your porch. That is a very
I have a
strong.
leash around the porch so that she can be out in the front yard but not go too far. And she's pulling against it, and it feels like she's going to pull the house down.
It really feels like
it's trembling.
dog Charmy versus house. Charmy's might have a chance of winning.
Yeah. So as soon as things get less COVID-y, I need an in-person puppy trainer to deal with the jumping and the nipping, because it's
Yeah,
it's
because
a lot.
she's also super strong. So any
Yeah.
kind of nipping, you're just like, nope,
Yeah.
gentle. But she's very sweet.
She is a sweetie, and but she's an alpha as well. So I take her to this dog park, and she's just
aggro?
like, it's like the two dinosaurs. She just finds a dog that's bigger than her, and then they wrestle. And usually it's okay. Every once in a while, like, there's a kerfluffle, but she has a pretty good natured personality, and she's not aggro in that way. So that's a relief.
That's
But
great.
she definitely needs more physical activity than I was anticipating. And like before this, I was like, oh, I don't know if I want my son to get his driver's license. Now I'm like, the day he turns 16, if he can drive to the dog park every morning, he can have a car. I'll figure it out. I'll sell a body part and get him a car. But I can't be on the hook for this for the next 18 years.
Right. You got a puppy.
I know.
Right when you were gonna. Yeah.
Well, my plan to leave the country is still in motion, and we'll figure something out with Charmy. I'm not staying in America to take care of a dog.
No, there's no. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
And once you have her trained, and as she settles down, she'll be a great dog for anybody.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, my son will probably be able to take her, or somebody will be. It'll be a temporary thing. But I
What you
will.
want is an older dog.
I will be doing one-nighters in France 6 years from now. That is a fact.
Good to know, everybody. There's got to be a 4-waller in Leon. You guys, just going. Let's figure it out. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have sets this week? I have a bunch of. I did a bunch of sets this week, so I was twitchy about. I headlined at Flappers, and Erin Foley featured, and holy shit, she's got a new bit about lesbian movies, and I was crying. I was laughing so hard.
That's great.
And Bamford came and did a guestie, and a guy named Ray.
Yeah.
emceed, and he was very funny, and that was nice. And then I did 3 other shows. I did 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday, and then I did the Sunday services today. And
Damn.
And I did like 3 people's podcasts. So
too much.
so much podcasting.
Too much. I did Sam Varela has a new series of shows called Naked Comedy. And so I did one that was a lot of fun on Thursday. And I felt like I had a few little offshoots from existing jokes,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
made me excited. And then tonight, Monday, I'll be doing a Zoomer for Flappers called The Writers of Conan. It's just me and Brian Kiley and then, other people.
Uh-huh.
And then Tuesday, I'm doing a Zoomer for Rebecca Kaplan. And then Saturday, I'm doing a Zoomer as well. And I'll post those on my,
Is the Monday Flappers one, is that a 7:00 like they usually do?
yeah. Mhm.
Nice. Tuesday, I'm doing an Amanda Cohen at Flappers set. And then I'm doing a Dan Mills set on Wednesday. I'm also doing Kurt Bruneller's new podcast. And then I'm recording a couple of Dork Forests this week. Which should be fun. I'm doing a benefit for a guy with ALS. That's right, with Rich Scheidner.
Oh, wow.
On Saturday.
Wait, you just did a gig with Rich Scheidner, right?
Yeah.
How's he doing? Is he living like in Arkansas or something?
North
Where's he
Carolina,
living?
and he's
Yeah.
left. And get this, the biggest beard. Like
Oh my God.
he looks like Dr. Zaius. That is
I
from
don't know
Planet
who
of the
that
Apes. I'm
is.
so sorry. Planet of the Apes, Dana Gould.
Oh, okay. I'll to reference that. I'll watch a Dana Gould bit, not Planet of the Apes. But so it's
Fair enough.
it's a Letterman-esque beard.
Yeah, kind of.
Were
Yeah.
you following all the? Have you watched the Britney doc? First of all,
No, I'm so sorry for her loss.
okay. Wow.
But
She
but I
doesn't
understand
deserve
she's
your
being-
sarcasm.
Oh, it's true. She probably but I think that the world has turned out. They're just. I think I saw that Craig, what's his face,
Ferguson?
Ferguson didn't make fun of her when it was cool to make fun of her, and she's had all of her. I only know that she's had all of her money stolen because of Babs, because of Barbara.
Oh, right. Yeah, because Barbara Gray and Tess Barker kind of led the movement, and they are featured in the documentary. They've both been comics of the week. They're really funny, and they have their own podcast with Brandy Posey called Lady to Lady. But yeah, so it was good. But then they were just posting a lot of clips of Letterman creepily interviewing, Lindsay Lohan and stuff. And I was doing Best Week Ever like in 2006 and 2007.
I'm jealous still.
Don't be. It was $600 a week. Well, you know what? The shows were kind of fun. I mean, we did live shows, but honestly, you get a packet the night before, and it's like Lindsay Lohan did this, and the jokes are going to be that she's drunk and out of control. So you just write.
So they were kind of mean, yeah.
And half the time I'm like, who's this? I don't know this person, but I guess I'm going to hate them. Okay, no problem. I'll just do my job to write jokes about this person in this way. I mean, the Amy Winehouse jokes were nonstop. Yeah. Nobody, it was just, drunk rock star trope, but it was with a girl instead of Ozzy Osbourne. You know what I mean? I didn't pick up on how, I don't know, how much trouble she was in. And
at the time, $600 was $600. So
it meant more than it does now.
It sure, I'm still interested in $600. Who do you need me to make fun of? Okay.
Yeah. But it was weird because I remember just going, I don't really care about this, but I guess they like me. So, and I need to be on TV. So here, that's fine with me. I don't care.
That's what I'm doing.
So I don't know. Part of me is like, I hope I didn't contribute too much to any of that, The
whole show did. I mean, the purpose of the show was to shit on people, forgetting that they're actual people. And, but that's, it's, I have other things to be more regretful of than me making.
I do too. I have like a host of them. What am I dwelling on this show? They didn't use me that much. I wasn't Paul F. Tompkins, for fuck's sake. I was just in for it. I would watch and just fast forward and be like, I was there for 2 hours and I had one line in the whole show. Come on, man.
That is so funny.
But I got to do the show, like the live shows with Nick Kroll was on a lot of them, and John Mulaney, and Yeah, it was fun. And Melissa Rauch. I think there's a lineup where 3 of the 4 are multimillionaires now, and the 4th is me.
Right. Yeah, there was what other drama happened in stand up this week? Wasn't there something else going down? Somebody cared about something that some comic was doing for no good reason. I don't know. But
I don't know.
It's
exhausting. What sucks is we're not seeing each other in person. A lot of like this animus that can build up, it comes because we're all not near each other. I mean, you can think someone's this way and that way, and then you say hello to them, and they're a full human being, and who still might be right wing or something. But I don't know. It's
yeah. I know what I wanted to say is you were talking about adding tacking on stuff. I have like 3 new. I have pretty much one new bit, one new chunk in the middle of. I think it's the gender sexuality bit. I've got a new angle on that because I did a podcast called Writer's Block with a couple of Minneapolis comics, good guys. But I did not know that was going to be public. I thought it was going to Patreon. And they took a couple of clips of the parts of the joke that was done. And then their tag-ons were the end of the clip, right? To show sort of a clip of a funny thing that happened in the show. And I was like, that joke isn't done. That joke is actually brand new.
In progress.
Such in progress. And I was hoping that, and surprise being such a big part of stand-up comedy.
I think the only part of stand-up comedy is
it's integral. It's integral. And
so does the joke feel tainted now?
Taint none of my concern. Yeah, it does.
Oh my god.
I'm
Please let us be at 60 minutes right now.
I know.
There's no reason for the show to go on.
We're at 40.
Oh, awful. Terrible timing, Jackie. This pandemic stuck with everything.
Do we want to take a break?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you want to storm out? No, go ahead.
Oh no. Did we talk about this last week? Somebody was offered a week at a club that we've both worked as headliners at, and the money was less than half, right? Right? Wait, in our chat, let me
It wasn't this, was it?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Right, so it was me. Yeah,
that
I
was you?
offered that.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry, I forgot. But I
He offered me that, and it was flat.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying the club is being cheap. I don't know because they've been closed for a year, and they have, what's the audience? Is it 20%? What's the capacity?
I think it's 35.
My fucking
it's
God.
Still light. It's super low.
Very light. No, that's terrible. That's terrible. And so it just makes you go, fuck, how are people going to make a living? Like, that money that you were offered isn't a living. It's get by work. It's not mortgage money.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not Gordy money. Believe me, that fucking dog's going to start costing money. Trust me. It's not replacing the things Gordy chewed.
Gordy's not a chewer or a barker.
Oh my God. What the fuck?
We lucked out.
Oh my God.
And he's genuinely polite. So it's been really a bit of a gift. But you're right. The money was so low that I didn't have a problem saying no. Though I literally, where I'm at right now is I can't go out until I at least get the first.
Yeah, if you were fully vaccinated, you would take that money, right?
I would probably go. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
because I need the stage time.
You need something.
Yeah,
but in terms of like it's a Band-Aid, and I'm just saying in general for working comedians to be paying their bills, how if this is going to be like the next 2 or 3 years as things start to slowly open up,
Yeah, it's called a depression. But I think that it's interesting because first of all, I'm worried that the audience won't be masked or vaccinated as well.
Right.
And like my dad got the second shot, and all I could think is he being a jerk and wandering around without a mask now? because
Yeah.
he thinks he's invincible, even though he's 83 and he smoked 4 packs of cigarettes for 40 years a day. And you're like, I would think a strong breeze could knock you over, buddy.
Yeah.
Feel free to wear a mask. And
Well, you know, a woman sent me an email. She had gone to a comedy show in Australia, I guess, recently, and their situation's a lot better than ours. And the comic was unmasked, and the audience was, and she thought that, and this makes sense to me, that it was very jarring for the comedian to try to perform for all these masked people, because it does, you still can't really judge a joke that well, you know?
yeah, but guess what? I've been looking at dome lights. You know,
I know, no, I'm just saying, I know it'll be better, but it's whatever.
it's still,
It's still going to be at least a year or two before we can approach what we had last year, right?
yeah, because there's variants now.
Oh,
And,
someone learned a new word.
Sure.
You sounded very proud.
I'm scientific. I have science issues, but yeah,
Well,
I don't know. I'm glad that there's new material though in my life right now.
Yes,
That
me
there's
too.
a couple of new jokes that I can work on where I'm like,
Feels good.
oh, it's not that I don't want to work on the stuff that needs work on. I have 2 favorite chunks, and then I have a couple of short jokes that I really still love, and then there's just the rest of it. They're good jokes, and they could be better if I worked on them, but I'm a little tired of them.
It's supposed to be fun. If it doesn't, like, you can put a bit away for a little while and bring it back in a month or two when it feels fun. You know,
Yeah,
if you aren't at least close to having fun, then, you know,
Right, nobody's
point?
having fun. If I'm not
Yeah.
having fun, genuinely no one else is having fun.
yes,
Because
right.
That
You are in charge of the fun when you're on stage.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
the gig. That's the gig. And anyway, where are we at here?
We are at 51.
Wow, this is it's entirely on you, Laurie.
Oh my God.
You can fill these 9 minutes. That'd be great. I might just check my email. Would that be rude? Would that be?
That would be just like you.
At least set the dog in front of the camera.
Oh wait, did you see? Max Fun sent out pins, so I got you got to see. I have one for Kyle.
it's
They
cute.
sent me one. I'm gonna.
Well, they
just
put it
sent you one.
on my shelf.
Yeah.
I love
there you
this
go.
thing. It is a high quality product.
Very nice. That.
I do love it. I wish I was 12 so I could really use it.
Right, and put it on something neat.
Oh yeah,
On
it's
a
on my
backpack.
tchotchke shelf.
Let's see.
What's your dream gig? How
Um,
about that? It's almost like asking you what. This is like an early episode kind of. Let's go to the notebooks. At this point, let's. What's your dream?
a podcast where I'm interrupted in the middle of a thought by asking what my dream gig is.
She's
That's my
back, you guys. She's back.
I'm saying I was working on my novel and I'm like, this feels like hell. And it's because it takes place in this time frame. So, and we're still in this time frame. We're not out of it. There's a lot of problems. It's a lot of things that are hard about it. But I keep going, well, what would make this fun to write? So there's an X character that I was sort of basing on my actual X. And then I was like, well, what if it's this other X, the fun X? Right? The Russian X, the guy whose voice I still have on my head because I did an impression of him for 10 years straight.
Yeah,
What if he's the guy, you know? And then it became fun. It wasn't like I don't know. When you're writing something, like, we're comedians and when we're writing something, it should be fun for us to write. It shouldn't be, if it's a slog, we're on the wrong road. You know?
Yeah. That's not. That doesn't mean that there isn't work to be done and that the work can stall a little bit, but on the whole, you better be excited about what you're writing. You better be excited about where you're trying, where you're seeing where it goes.
Yeah. And
It's fun.
yes. And it gives you, and when you see it, you're like, oh, there's possibilities there.
Yeah,
versus like, oh, how do I do this? You know, sometimes the how do I do this isn't because you're not a good writer or you're not skilled. It's because it's not, this one shouldn't be put together. This math problem doesn't work. But
Right.
this one makes your fingers tingle. Yeah, maybe that's the one to go down because that sounds like some fun stuff.
I know. I got asked to do to write just a short thing that'll go in a book about the women of Marvel comics. Or I just write about my favorite women characters in Marvel comic books, and so I just started pulling. Or when I say I mean Andy. I would essentially tell Andy that. What was that Dr. Afra run that I liked? What was that? What was that run with? There was. Agents of Hate, Next Wave. Agents of Hate was an amazing run with a lot of women comics, including Monica Rambeau, like just a lot of great comics. And so I've reread these. I read Next Wave, and it was great. It was written by Warren Ellis, who's a very famous comic book writer, and he writes women really well. But it was interesting waiting for the characters to be sort of full, you know, and I ended up. I kind of want to write a woman comic book writer writing women characters, but I didn't want to pick like the two obvious ones are Captain Marvel and Ms. Marvel. They're both written by women, and they're both very, very good. But they've got a lot of people writing this stuff, so I was like, I'm willing to pick something a little off, right? And Kelly Thompson wrote this amazing run of just. It's called West Coast Avengers. You can't possibly care, but this is a real clock eater, so it's a good one. But the thing,
Our listeners are riveted. That's what I know. Because they love you and hate me. So go ahead, keep talking, Jackie.
I love I was so sincere. But here's the scoop: is there's a Hawkeye character that Kelly Thompson is writing, and a Gwen and a Deadpool character that are both essentially parallel to the male characters. So there's a Kate Bishop is the woman Hawkeye, and Gwenpool is the woman Deadpool, and they're both in this West Coast Avengers, and I think I might write that one just because. Oh, and America Chavez is in it, who I would like her to have. I would like Kelly Thompson to write her all the time, and but it's just. You know, I wanted to, and it's not long. It's super short, but for some reason I haven't been able to start it. And
I feel like your description of this gig is longer than whatever you're going to write about it.
it's longer than anything they even want. It's just, but I'm excited to write anything for Marvel ever. So
That's amazing. Kyle, how much time have we done?
We are at 57.
Oh my
And not
God,
even
it's-
like 57 heavy, like it just turned to 57.
Oh,
Okay,
so
so-
a full 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
what
Good.
about this? We're doing another Comic of the Week show
Oh yeah.
in March.
Yes.
And Nia DeBose interested. Always exciting.
Cool.
But I mean, Nia DeBose, you remember her? Comic of the Week. And,
Yes.
So she's great. And then you had a couple ideas. And,
Yes. Well, we could do this one off the mic.
Are you kidding me? I was just like, it's a conversation. It's something. What are podcasts? But really, the minutia.
You know, podcasts need to be curated a little bit. We're all just talking too much. It's not good. I'm telling you, these are bad for us in the long run. They really are. We're diluting our stage energy into these rambling conversations, and now we all think we're interesting for an hour. We're fucking not, unless we're doing pre-prepared material that's been honed for a decade.
That feels good. I say we go a minute short.
Sure.
After that rant, I think that's kind of
We're
perfect.
still a minute 30 short.
That's fine.
We're
Let's go a
fine.
minute short, 30 short.